Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are tackling a really critical subject. Not just how to survive, but how to truly thrive and find financial confidence when you're relying on a single household income. We know this topic often comes, wrapped in a lot of stress, a feeling of limitation.
For sure.
So we took a whole stack of research articles, expert analyses, practical guides, and we've tried to distill a clear, actionable playbook for you. Our mission here is to transform that feeling of overwhelm into intentional living and real financial control.
And what's so fascinating about all the material isn't the math really, but the mindset. The core idea across all these sources is that living on one income isn't about deprivation.
Right. It's not about sacrifice.
Exactly. It's fundamentally about strategy, about intentionality, and a teamwork. I mean, when you manage your resources proactively, the clarity and the focus you get, that actually becomes your greatest advantage.
I love that framing. An advantage. It just shifts the power dynamic instantly, doesn't it?
It really does.
But before we get to the tactics, the research is absolutely ruthless about the starting point.
It has to be.
We need an honest, sometimes painful look at reality. We're calling this phase 1, assessment. So what are the foundational steps recommended before anyone even tries to build a budget?
Okay, so the initial step is it's just non-negotiable data gathering. You need a meticulous, say, 3-month tracking period.
2 months.
Yep. We're talking about charting every single dollar of income, salary, bonuses, any small side gigs, and mapping every expense. But the key isn't just listing them. It's categorizing them strictly. Fixed, variable, and discretionary. You have to know what's necessary, what's choice.
Tracking every dollar for 3 months.
Right.
That sounds like homework nobody wants to do. Why is that level of detail so necessary? Can't we just, estimate?
Estimation is the enemy here. It really is.
Yeah.
Meticulous tracking leads you directly to what all the sources call financial leakage.
Financial leakage. Okay.
It refers to those small, insidious expenditures that just silently drain your resources. These aren't your big mortgage payments. They're the habitual, often regretted micro-purchases. Think of the 3 streaming services you never watch, or that auto-renewal for software you used once.
Or the daily $5 coffee that suddenly is $150 a month.
That's the one. The power comes from analyzing your last 90 days of bank statements, not for big fraud, but for those small, emotional spending decisions you wish you could take back.
That is empowering, though, because it shows you where the fat is, right? Where money is just disappearing without adding any value to your life.
Exactly.
So once we stop the bleeding, we need motivation. That brings us to setting clear financial goals.
You have to know where you're going. And crucially, these have to be shared goals if you're in a partnership.
Oh, that's key.
Shared goals create unity. They give you the motivation to make those hard choices a little bit easier. You define your short-term goals, like, say, funding that emergency reserve, and your long-term ones, like retirement or a college fund.
And after all that, you have what you call the baseline.
You have your baseline. It's your financial fingerprint, a snapshot of your reality that you use to measure progress.
Yeah.
And the sources stress using this not just for measurement, but as a tool to celebrate small wins.
Like what?
Like, did you stick to the grocery budget for the month? That's a win. Did you pay off that nagging credit card? Huge win. Celebrating these reinforces those positive habits.
Fantastic. So phase 1, diagnosis complete. We know where the money is going. We have shared goals. Now we move into phase 2, the tactical plan. For most listeners, budgeting feels like a financial straitjacket. How do the sources redefine the purpose of a budget?
They're very clear on this. A budget is a roadmap, not a restriction. Its main purpose is actually to reduce financial stress.
To reduce stress. Interesting.
That ensures your essentials are covered, it allocates funds automatically toward your savings and goals, and it prevents that constant anxiety of living paycheck to paycheck. It's about empowering you to tell your money where to go, instead of
wondering where it went.
Exactly.
And the most effective strategy, highlighted again and again, is zero-based budgeting, or ZBB. It sounds intimidating, but it's really just about accountability, isn't it?
It is absolute accountability. Zero-based budgeting basically means that every single dollar of your income gets a specific job.
A purpose.
A purpose, be it for expenses, savings, or debt repayment, so that your total income minus your total allocations equals precisely 0. No leftover money just floating around.
So what's the process? How do you actually do it?
It's rigorous. You list all your monthly income. Then you list all necessary expenses and savings goals in strict order of priority. Assign the amounts. Then, and only then, do you adjust discretionary spending until that budget balances to 0.
But here's the challenge, right? especially on a tight single income. How do you forecast those variable expenses like a car repair or a medical bill when you need every dollar accounted for right now?
That is the technical heart of ZBB. Its success relies on two key things: sinking funds and buffer categories.
Okay, break those down.
Sinking funds are just savings goals for big, predictable, but irregular expenses. Think property taxes, annual insurance, or holiday spending. You divide the total cost by 12, and you save that amount every month. So the cost just sinks into the budget.
I see. So it doesn't feel like a surprise hit.
Never. And the buffer category is also crucial.
Yeah.
This is a small, intentional pool of money for the current month to absorb minor, unexpected shocks, a slightly higher gas bill or whatever. It gives you flexibility without breaking the whole system.
That makes ZBB sound much more, well, human.
It has to be.
Okay, let's talk expense reduction. We all know the basics: cook at home, use coupons. But what are the deep dive strategies for reducing costs without feeling like you've sacrificed your quality of life?
Right. It's about choosing wisely, not just cutting back.
Exactly.
So let's focus on the high-impact areas. Groceries. Go beyond meal planning. The real power is in tracking unit cost.
Cost per ounce, that sort of thing.
Exactly. You stop looking at the total price and start calculating the cost per item to find the true value. The research also suggests a 90-10 rule buying store brands 90% of the time gives you huge savings with almost no difference in quality.
And what about housing and utilities? Those are usually the biggest fixed costs.
That's where negotiation and efficiency are paramount. You review every service contract, internet, phone. You call your provider and ask specifically for the retention department.
Ah, the magic words.
They are. Negotiating those bills can save hundreds a year. For utilities, it's about strategic investments, like smart thermostats or sealing air leaks. And yes, in extreme cases, the sources do say that reevaluating housing downsizing, maybe moving, could be the highest impact decision you could make.
That's a big one.
It is. And before we move on, we have to talk about the emergency fund.
Right. Why 3 to 6 months of essential expenses? Why isn't less okay, especially when the budget is so tight?
Because saving that much can feel paralyzing. I get it. But it's the difference between temporary discomfort and total derailment. 3 months is the minimum buffer for a minor job change or medical issue. 6 months gives you the runway for a serious illness or a long job search.
And for a single income household, the risk is higher.
Catastrophically higher. This fund is your primary tool for maintaining your mental health and avoiding high-interest debt when a crisis hits.
Peace of mind is priceless. Okay, phase 3, the growth engine. We've locked down the budget. Now, how do we increase income creatively without pushing the single earner into total burnout?
The goal here is leveraging what the sources call your existing human capital, monetizing skills you already have.
So freelancing.
Freelancing in design, writing, coding, consulting in your professional field. These opportunities command a higher rate and require fewer hours than, say, an entry-level side job. You want flexible, results-based work that respects the family schedule.
And then there's the gig economy.
Right, but look beyond just basic ride-sharing. Think about niche services like specialized tutoring or managing social media for small local businesses, things that provide income spikes with time flexibility.
And of course, the holy grail. Passive income, money that flows in with minimal effort after that initial setup. But how does a single income family, with maybe not a lot of starting capital, even begin that journey?
The low barrier entry points are key. Forget buying rental properties right away.
Okay.
Focus on digital assets. Creating an inexpensive ebook, an online course based on a hobby, or printable resources you can sell multiple times with zero inventory cost. For investing, start small. Use dividend reinvestment plans and fractional shares. Consistent contributions, even $50 a month, into low-cost index funds. That harnesses compounding interest early. Time is your biggest asset.
And what about maximizing resources you already have?
Yes, the small but crucial stuff. Actively sell high-value, unused items, furniture, old electronics. Don't just store them. Use cashback apps for everything, not just groceries. And most importantly, make sure you're maximizing employee benefits. Are you getting the full employer match for retirement? Are you using an HSA?
Those are dollars just being left on the table.
Exactly.
Phase 4 is, I think, maybe the most crucial for long-term success. The relationship and the mindset shifts. Let's be honest, relying on one income, asking a partner to stick to a strict budget, that can create enormous stress.
It can create resentments, absolutely.
So how do you turn this potential stress point into a point of strength?
You've hit it. Money is the #1 cause of conflict. The research suggests the fix is absolute transparency and non-judgmental communication.
Easier said than done.
It is. But you have to schedule financial check-ins, maybe weekly. And you have to treat them as problem-solving sessions against the budget, not arguments against each other. Blame has to be off the table.
And teamwork, I assume, goes beyond just the budget meetings.
Oh, absolutely. It's about defining roles based on what people are good at. Maybe one person handles the tracking and bill paying because they're organized, and the other focuses on investment research. And crucially, if one partner is spending time on a side hustle, the distribution of household labor must be adjusted to prevent resentment. Equity in chores is essential.
Equity, not equality. That's a vital distinction. Now let's talk about the deep psychological shift required. From scarcity to what?
Intentional living.
Intentional living. The shift has to happen daily. Scarcity thinking focuses on what you lack. Intentional living means focusing every purchase on maximizing your family values.
So if your value is travel,
The budget says no to dining out, but a big yes to a travel sinking fund. You're intentionally saying no to random consumption and focusing instead on experiences, health, connection. It's choice.
and there's a power in that choice, right?
Yes.
The resourcefulness of it all. A huge psychological benefit. Embracing DIY projects, inventive cooking, finding low-cost family entertainment, it fosters a sense of accomplishment. You're not too poor to buy something. You are choosing to be creative. That's a powerful shift away from envy.
Okay, we've established the system, secured the foundation. Let's move to the final piece. Phase 5, planning for long-term future security. This is where we make sure the family doesn't just survive, but flourishes.
Right, because long-term success is built on the power of compounding interest. You have to start investing early, even if the amounts feel small. Consistency is so much more important than trying to time the market.
So you maximize tax-advantaged accounts first.
For first and always. Your IRAs, your employer 401ks, 529 plans for college. The goal is to let time and tax efficiency do all the heavy lifting for you.
And the final piece of resilience planning for uncertainty. This is like the financial equivalent of wearing a seatbelt.
It is. Proactive planning means regularly reviewing all of your insurance. Do you have adequate life insurance to replace that single income stream? Do you have disability insurance if the primary earner can't work?
And legal documents.
Are your wills, trusts, and legal documents up to date? This level of planning is all about eliminating the potential for financial panic when life, inevitably throws you a curveball.
That combination of aggressive present-day budgeting and robust future protection, that is what defines true financial control.
It's a powerful, integrated system.
Absolutely. So let's quickly recap the main pillars of this deep dive for you. First, assess your financial reality, track everything, find that leakage. Second, implement a zero-based budget using sinking funds to make it work. Third, creatively increase your income, leverage your skills. Fourth, strengthen your relationship foundation through non-judgmental communication. And finally, plan for the future with consistent investing and resilience planning.
And I think the ultimate key takeaway is this. Strategic management of a single income lifestyle provides a kind of clarity and an unparalleled financial control. You're exchanging the complexity of two careers for focus and intentionality. You're simplifying your life in a really meaningful way.
The journey to thriving on one income really is a creative family project. It's designed to build profound resilience. So let me leave you with a provocative thought that builds on this idea. If you treated your financial plan less like a restriction and more like an opportunity to deepen your connection, what's the very first non-monetary success, an experience, an act of gratitude, or just a feeling of connection that you would intentionally celebrate this week? Think better, live simpler, feel freer. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.